What's happening, people? Welcome back to the Buzz Geek Out channel. It's a Geek Out session, and I got an amazing guest, young brother here, Sulaiman Khan. Brother, how you doing, man?
Doing very well, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Alhamdulillah, everything's good, man. Thank you for jumping on, man. I appreciate it, man. We were talking just before how we met, just randomly in Dubai at TK Fit, MMA and whatnot, and then we just kind of hit it off. Which and you live freaking close to me. Your family lives close to me where I live here, which is crazy.
Yeah, like what were the chances just to see you at TK MMA and the fact that I needed a lift as well back home. It was I mean you was kind enough to give me a lift and I think on the way home, if you remember, I think this was back in August. We had a long conversation just about everything in general, the world, each other. And it was just amazing. I mean, you told me that you was 40 years old. I mean, I thought you I'm 20 years old at the time. I was 19 when I met you. So I thought that you was around my age. I mean, you keep yourself healthy, mashallah, Allahumma barik. So no, it was good, man. It was good. So, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no, definitely. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Man, I get that a lot now, and I appreciate, alhamdulillah, I'm going to try and keep myself healthy and all that sort of stuff. But my body just doesn't feel it these days. And you've seen like my Instagram sometimes, and I'm like, I just got smashed by this fucking 15-year-old kid. And it happens, man. I just can't take it no more. But you know what? I'm
it,
gonna keep trying.
it happens. I mean, I was that 16-year-old kid, on the other side. But I mean, end of the day, you could say let's compare bank balances. So, what really matters?
Yeah, yeah, that was good. But yes, yeah, we I drove you back and then we just had a good conversation. And what I appreciate is we just clicked, you know what I mean? Like our vibes and everything like that. It was just easy to talk to you and whatnot. I think that's what's important, right? When you meet someone, it's just like obviously like vibes and relatability, but just kind of like that mutual sort of respect and everything.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the most important thing. I think society now, especially with the younger generation, they've lost that, you know. I mean, I see it.
Mm.
I'm at university, so I see it within my own demographic. But I mean, if we can preserve that, I think we can move forward in the world.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, I think like religion helps. Like whatever religion, obviously we're Muslim and everything, alhamdulillah, but whatever religion, if you follow it by the books, it talks about respect and respecting your elders and just respecting each other. It's unfortunately that, whatever religion, whatever people, it's not followed 100%, you know what I mean? But that's down to society, and it's down to parents teaching, school, all that sort of stuff, you know what I mean? But you said you're living in Bulgaria, you said, yeah?
Yeah, I'm in Sofia, Bulgaria at the moment, the capital city of Bulgaria. I'm studying dentistry at the moment.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's in
So after
that's
you knock out man's teeth, yeah, you try and fix it. Help him out and
oh,
fix it.
yeah, yeah, pretty much, So it's like a positive feedback. You knock their teeth out, yeah, you replace it. You make customers, So
Yeah.
it's two passions which I've collided with, and it's it's more so about finding a balance, which I've had about 4 months to do, and I think I've really gotten into that balance.
Okay. And why Bulgaria? Is that like got the best like dental universities or something? Or
So initially, so here's the case, right? At GCSEs, I got 7 9s and 2 7s, which is equivalent to 7 A stars and 3 A's at GCSEs. At
alhamdulillah,
A
nice.
level, at A level, I got 3 A's. So that was maths, biology, and chemistry. Absolutely smashed it. My UCAT score, however, I got about 2 350 or 2 450. I sat it twice, and
What's that? Sorry. What is you can? Sorry.
oh, it's an amplitude test. So it's a test that all medical schools are required, well, or students that are applying to medical school are required to sit. I also had the BMAT as well. That was for Cambridge. Um,
Ah,
and yeah, I was unlucky both times. The first time that I applied, then I took a gap year. That's when I met you. And then my second time applying, again, a fail. Fail in the sense of I wasn't able to get a interview uh well, initially it was medicine, but then it changed to dentistry. I've always wanted to do dentistry, but I guess I was kind of not peer pressured in a way, but I kind of had that talk with my parents and whatnot. They always wanted like a doctor of medical science.
Asian
um
family, bro. I
yeah,
feel you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You know how it goes, Asian parents or whatnot. But I have loads of friends who are dentists as well. I have my friend, he's a good for is my good friend Shiraz. I shadowed him not too long ago, at the start of this year actually. So I've always wanted to do something, uh, that has manual dexterity, I mean, hence, I mean, I'm a boxer, so, um, and it's more sort of a juxtaposition because you never really see a doctor that's also fighting and competing. Like like you can't really like put the two and two together.
It's very
It's a,
rare.
yeah, it's
I
a very
remember
rare.
there was this Chinese UFC fighter, I think a couple months ago that she fought, and there was a
And,
big thing about that where she's a doctor and then she knocked this chick out or whatnot.
yeah,
So there's
yeah.
something big about yeah.
The flying kick me and the interview she gave afterwards, she goes, I'm nobody special. I'm just a doctor, and I like. And yeah, like she's a big inspiration as well. I also knew someone as well, not personally, but from online and whatnot. Dr. Arthur Daniel calls himself Dr. Hitman. Now he's not like an amazing professional boxer, but he's a professional boxer and he's a medical dentist as well. So in that case, it's like there has been someone that does it before, therefore I can do it as well,
Got it, got it. And how's Bulgaria? Like why Bulgaria and how did Bulgaria work out?
Right, so because of the rejections I got from the interviews, I decided, okay, I need to do dentistry. I need to do. I'm not sitting one more year. I'm not having 2 or 3 years out. I refuse to do it. So I looked online, and there was a lot of recommendations. There was Plovdiv in Bulgaria. There was Romania. There was Valencia in Spain. There was Sofia here in Bulgaria. So I applied to Plovdiv and Sofia, and I was lucky enough to get into Sofia. I got 100% on my test, so it was very it's a very long process, and I'm still in the process. Like I'm still going. Well, tomorrow I have to go to the migration office and put my get this residency card and all this. So it's a very very long process, and somewhat expensive if you don't know what you're doing.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, like the level of education is nothing like spectacular. It's nothing special. Like you're gonna instantly become a doctor or instantly become a dentist. You obviously have to put the work in. And I'm in the first year, and even I see like there's a lot of students that are still not putting the work in. They thought they could go to another country and like because it was easier in the sense of getting into medical school to get in. They thought that okay, this will be a breeze. Turns out it's not. Medical school is no joke.
mm. And how's Bulgaria though? How's like the environment and whatnot? Is there like a big Muslim community? Is it just like the people in general? Is it nice and whatnot?
So it's a very small Muslim community. I think there's about 1% of Muslims in the whole of Bulgaria. And I think Sofia, I think there's around like 7 to 10%, not too much.
Mm,
Um, but I mean, everyone that I've come across, or most people that I've come across are very respectful, especially my boxing gym. They've really taken me in as one of their own.
oh, that's
So
nice.
so it's a very nice culture. It's a very nice atmosphere as well. The weather, personally, is much better than the UK. The UK is bipolar. It's genuinely and when it gets hot here, it gets hot. It gets around 40 degrees Celsius. So I mean, like, I mean, much better than the summer in the UK.
Yeah, definitely, man. And then, so you said something about the boxing gym. Like, did you know that did you find this gym when you were in the UK? Did any of the coach recommend it? Because I've traveled around, and every time I go to a gym, I'm not gonna lie, I get nervous. Like, my first thing is I get nervous and like shit. I'm not gonna lie, I hate the first sort of days because like like martial art gyms, right? They have egos, right? It is what it is, right? So you go in, and I'm just like, I'm not a fighter, man. I've competed before, but I'm not a fighter. I just want to train. I want to learn martial arts. I want to learn self defense. You get into a gym, and then fucking someone just goes for it and whatnot. And when I was younger, my ego was like, oh fuck it, let's go. Now I'm like, brother, chill. I don't want I don't need no more brain damage. But how was that for you? Like, how was that for you? Like entering a foreign sort of boxing gym and whatnot.
So, actually, it was before I met you. I actually traveled to Bulgaria, Sofia, actually, not knowing that I was going to come here, just as a tourist, just as literally as a tourist destination. So I came here, spent a week here. I actually went to this one boxing gym not too far from the hotel I was staying at, in central Sofia, and I trained there. It was. I mean, at first it was sort of. not intimidating in the sense of because I've been to quite a lot of boxing gyms, especially I mean I'm from Birmingham, right? So I've been to to quite a lot of boxing gyms. So I know how it goes, and I know that if something goes down, like I know that I can hold my own and whatnot. As long as they don't put me with some 6'7" Soviet boxer, or the ones that have them long arms that just start like picking you up.
Yeah.
But no, like so I mean when I first moved to Sofia, and then stumbled across this one boxing gym. It was Sports Center Pulev. Now when I went inside, yeah, I mean when I first went inside actually, they were warming up, and I think I was the first brown guy there or the only brown
Oh,
guy there.
really?
One guy, I remember exactly who he was. He turned around, looked at me like in disgust, sort of, like, "What are you doing here?" So I thought to myself, I go, "Okay, if I spy him, I'm gonna fuck him up." I'm at a point. So I think my ego overrided the fear, you
Ah,
know,
got it. Yeah, yeah.
which in turn was better for me, because I thought to myself, oh God, I'm not letting anyone, think less of me. But I think
Mm,
a misunderstanding, he was thinking like, okay, I've never seen him before, it could have been a hint of like my complexion. It could have just been like apps, like he was just shocked, like he's seen someone
like a
that was
curiosity sort of thing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, more of a curiosity thing. Uh, but no, I mean, we started to warm up and whatnot. But then he see me on the bag, the coach, and he goes, "You look quite good. I want you to box for us. You could become a champion here." And that kind of inspired me a little bit. I was like, okay, really, like maybe I should, because I thought I fought in September, last September, and I thought, okay, this is my last fight. I'm just gonna go and medical. I'm gonna go to dental school and that's it, fine. But I went in and he goes, yep, I want you to fight for us, and this was literally October, a month afterwards. So September was my last fight, and then October he says, all right, then come on, I want you to fight for us. So that was that was a nice little telltale for me. And yeah, and then from there they just kind of took me in as one of their own, started sparring the other guys, started getting a feel for them. And yeah, like I really enjoyed the experience, I would continue to enjoy the experience.
It's awesome, bro. I've seen you move, bro, and Inter. You look good. You look fast. I know I don't. I've never looked like that, put it that way, man. I've never been good. Like with martial arts, I love it. Like that's why I've carried on doing it, but I'm not good at it. Like, I'm just one of those guys who just love it and I always show up and I'm always gonna show up. But I've never been good at it. And I competed in my early, like when I first got into martial arts, I'd done some sandow, like kickboxing with like takedowns. So I'd done a bit of that, and I was like, oh man, I was confident enough to fight. I was able to overcome my fears to get in there. And I had about 5 fights. And then I started transitioning slowly to MMA. And then one week before I don't know, in London, there's the Troxy Center. I've never ever heard of it. They used to do UC MMA there and stuff. But I tore the ligament in my ankle a week before the fight. And that just completely killed my mental, man. I was like, first of all, I was like, why am I doing this? I'm not even trying to be a professional fighter. I'm not a fighter. I don't want to be a fighter. I'm never going to be in the UFC or this. Why am I damaging my body like this? And then it was hard for me to build my mental back, man. And I tried to, that fight got cancelled. Years later, I moved to Hong Kong, and I was like, you know what? Let me try again, because it was just in me a little bit. And then in Hong Kong, a week before the fight, my opponent pulled out because he couldn't make the weight. And then I was like, I leave it, man. Allah's giving me a sign. Maybe Allah's just saving me from something. And then I moved to Singapore, and it was the same thing. I was like, maybe I should try. I had a new coach there who was great. And then the year I was going to give it a go and we are going to start training for it, COVID hit. And I was like, you know what? Allah's just telling me, leave it, G. Like, it's not for you or whatnot. But I've seen you move though. Like I said, I'm not that good. I'm just a guy who just loves it and just kind of shows up and whatnot. What got you into boxing though? Like you start I mean, you're a young brother. How long you been training for? Like what got you into it? What inspired you? And was it nerve-wracking when you were I mean, you were young probably, so like, but was you able to like, was you nervous and stuff getting into the boxing, or you're like, nah, I wanna do this?
So I've always sort of been on and off with boxing, right? So I think I started at the age of my mom put me in for like when I was like 12 or something, 12, 11 or 12. And I mean at first I hated to go. My mom sort of dragged me because I was really fat, I was overweight. So she used to drag me. I used to be like, no, I'm too tired or whatever. She just go, come on, just go. And yeah, like they taught me the fundamentals. I never took it seriously until I was about 15 or 16. I mean, again, COVID happened as well, so there was a big period where like I wasn't even training. Um, so yeah, like it was sort of my mom just dragging me there. I got my ass beat a few times when I was young, especially by the older lads. I remember one time I was sparring this one guy, and I stepped forward, and the coach said, "Step back, right hand." So I stepped forward. He stepped back, boom, right on my nose. That was exactly. I remember exactly because I was pouring with blood, and I'll always remember that shot. I don't know why, but it's just one shot I just remember when I was young, and yeah. So then I took it seriously when I was like 15, 16. Um, and then yeah, from there, I just thought to myself, I go, okay, listen, I really want to make something of myself, you know. I don't want to just be another average fighter, you know. I want to be something better. I know that I can be something better, you know. It's like what you were saying earlier, like you just have something inside of you. I think that's just something that's inside of me, you know. And people can say what they want to say, but I know what I'm capable of, and I know what I've done, and I know what I can do, you know. Um, it's more so that mental barrier that everyone always has. Uh, I mean, like you were talking about, getting your mental back. Like you're courageous for even starting martial arts and even sparring. There's 99% of guys who even speak bad about that. They wouldn't even go to a boxing gym, let alone get in the ring, you know? So it's more so a case of doing it for yourself rather than doing it for other people, you know?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And like you said, man, it's all about that. It's all about the mental and all that sort of stuff. And if you believe in yourself, all that sort of stuff, I mean, I think it came down to me with that as well. It was just about overcoming my own fears when I was going to do it. It wasn't about, I knew I wasn't a fighter. I'm not into that, even to this day. But when I did compete, it was about like overcoming my own fears. Like, let me just try this. Let me just go do it. At least so I originally started with Kung Fu. It was like Kung Fu MMA, but I'm lucky I had a great open-minded instructor because he made me do everything. He was like, look, this is the basic Kung Fu, but we're gonna learn some MMA, like ground game, all that stuff. And he used to make me go to like boxing gyms, kickboxing gyms, jiu-jitsu, all that stuff. So he made me do that, and I'm glad he did because that's what opened my mind to it. But I was like let me like overcome my fears and just give it a try. And he used to say to me, like, just try it once. If you like it, then you carry on. If you don't, at least you say you've done it. You know what I mean? And from I've always been a small guy. You've seen me, but I'm the smallest guy ever, bro. So for growing up in neighborhoods that we grew up in, always dealing with shit and all that sort of stuff, like to a point where I'm like, I've actually put myself in a position where I could confidently. I don't want to fight, but I can confidently, with a lot more confidently, defend myself. Yes, I'm still a small guy. I could get smashed. I could get hit with a shot. I could get picked up and slapped on the floor. But I just have much more of a confident ability of how to utilize my body. You know what I mean? And then going into fights and doing that just kind of gave me confidence. Like, okay, I understand the fight now. Like when you're on the streets and man's are like, man will go red, sees red, and I think they don't understand the concept of getting into a fight. So when you do a fight like boxing fight or whatever, like you're training for it. There's nerves. There's the mental side of it. You get in there and you're like, like I remember just hearing myself breathing. Like I could just remember that, like trying to move, and I could just hear myself breathing and shit. And I'm like, this is a fucking fight, you know what I mean? And it's a whole different thing, man. People don't understand or respect the abilities of fighting and being in a fight. They're just like, man goes red, man knows how to fight. It's like, you know shit about fighting, man.
Yeah, shit, brother. You don't know nothing. So it's yeah, I see these I just see red all the time, and they come into the gym, bro. It's like we get in the ring, 20 seconds in, and they're already gassed out,
Yeah,
and and it's like, okay,
cardio, bro, the worst enemy.
like we're here now. You can't just say no. You can't just back out now. Like, you're giving all that talk. So I mean, it's like Mike Tyson said, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, So until you get punched in the mouth enough time to know what to do, uh, yeah, you don't know shit about fighting.
Yeah, 100. I mean, I think that for me, like I got into self-defense and then like jiu-jitsu. I love the striking. My base is striking. Like I said, I'm not good at it, but my base is striking. But I really found love for jiu-jitsu just because I was able to, it was the first one that I was like, first like art style when I was able to kind of control bigger people. And I remember when this was years ago, I was just rolling with a big dude and I mounted him. He didn't know what he was doing. Oh, he was a new student or whatnot. I've been doing it just for like a couple months. I remember just mounting him, and I had his arms trapped here, like I held on and whatnot. I was a white belt, just rolling around like a monkey, but I was able to just control him, and he was way bigger than me. And I was like, holy shit, like I can't believe I'm dominating this dude. So from a self-defense perspective, like, and it happens to this day, like I like, I'm a purple belt now. I do get smashed in the gym by these freaking monsters. You see in the TKMMA, it's a bunch of like Russians and shit that just smash people. But one thing I know for sure, like when someone who comes in, a big person who doesn't know what they're doing, all that sort of stuff, I know I got the ability to control them or whatnot. Don't get me wrong, they're strong and shit, and it hurts. But I know from a self-defense perspective, if I was in the UK, God forbid, if something was to happen, I'd be like, they don't know what they're doing. And if I was able to take them down, like obviously if it's one-on-one, I would confidently be able to, I could like kind of survive in that sort of situation. So that's why I always go back. I mean, I want to carry on learning martial arts because I just want to know how to fight. I don't want to fight, but I just want to know how to defend myself, my family. God forbid anything was to happen. You know what I mean?
And I mean, martial arts is also a form of discipline. But I mean, I saw your story the other day. You done a 72-hour fast, water fast.
Yeah.
Uh, actually, I didn't want to tell you this, but that inspired me actually, and I'm on my water fast as well. So that's
Oh,
I'm 30,
yes, brother.
so I'm 36 hours in right now. So
Nice.
when I saw that on your story, I said to myself, I go, you know what? I'm gonna do it as well. And I'm 36 hours in, and bro, I swear to God, I don't think I've had much clarity or much focus that I've had than now. Like when I'm doing work, like I have like hit my work right now. When I'm doing work and whatnot, I just feel more focused. I mean, I was doing meditation. I was like I I feel happier, and I go to sleep earlier as well. There's so many benefits that has come out of this water fast, which I mean, I've done water fasts before, but those are like training for fights. When I had to lose like
Mm.
5 kilos in a week. I remember one time I had to lose like 5 kilos in a week. That was bad. Um, I couldn't even have much water. But I think
Yeah,
here is a
those
bit
are
more.
tough, right? Weight cutting, like you even limited with water. Like, or do you do like there is the like the water one where you just drink loads and piss it all out and whatnot,
Yeah,
right?
no, that's water loading. So you do that like
Mm.
4 or 5 days before a fight. You drink about like 4 or 5 liters of water, and then about a day before you don't drink anything, or you drink like maybe like 500 milliliters of water.
Mm.
Uh,
But yeah, I agree, man. Like, when I did, so this is the first time I've done 72 hours. I always do like intermittent fasting and whatnot. I've done 24 hours before, but I was like, you know what? I want to go for the long because I've seen so much research about the healing abilities of fasting, the benefits, and like healing like from like a cellular level, you know what I mean? Extending your healthy cells, your telomeres and all that stuff, killing like cancer cells and Alzheimer's cells and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, you know what? I want to build it into my routine, man. I want to do it once a month. So I did it. And like you said, I felt great. I made one mistake. It's a learning for next time. On the second day, I done my morning workout, went for a swim, and I overdid it. Like I was swimming, I was like, oh, I feel good. And that's why I added my sprints into it. And as soon as I got out of the pool, I was like, I made a mistake. I immediately felt drained. So next time I know, like, you know what, when I do it, I might just stick to yoga or whatnot. I might not just go all out. And I'm not as young to keep that energy. But so I had to deal with a bit of like a tiredness, a little bit that messed me up. But it's crazy how you don't ever feel hungry or anything. I mean, like maybe we got experience from Ramadan, but like this is also like so I'm also like a religious thing to me as well, because I'm like, Allah gave us Ramadan for a reason. Of course, the religious, spiritual, and so many other reasons, but Allah's like, this is healthy for you. Like, I want you guys to do because it's healthy. And it just kind of it inspires me to do it even more. Do you know what I mean?
Another thing that I find with my water fasting is that I'm not as lustful as as I was before. If we're being real on this podcast,
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah, yeah.
because we're both men in it, we can speak about this. Yeah, I'm not feeling as lustful as I was. I can go to sleep easily. I can wake up easily. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not saying that I'm not a man no more. I'm not saying nothing like that. But it really retains a lot of bad habits you may have, or it really kind of shows you how much you've kind of how unconscious you really are on a day-to-day life. you don't really think about certain things you're doing when you just put food in your mouth. Like before, I used to just maybe like go downstairs and get like a Twix bar, get like a Kit Kat or something. I don't know, just a chocolate or whatever. Uh, but it's made me realize how much time I have during the day, as well when I'm not really eating or making food, especially because I live alone. So
Yeah, definitely. I agree, bro. Because like food, like we look, listen, man, we're privileged, alhamdulillah. We have the ability to, like you said, go down and eat what we want or whatnot. But it does put things into perspective from that side. And yes, it gives you lots of time. And you don't kind of like that greed of just getting food whenever. It just kind of disciplines you. It's like I think it's one of the most disciplined things, like fasting is one of the most disciplined things, you know what I mean? That you could do. And this 72 hours just like it wasn't about food. Like I could think about food or whatnot. It was just like, don't do it because food, like, don't get me wrong, food is amazing, right? I love food, right? It tastes, it's freaking good. It's like an easy pleasure that you just get. But the health benefits, man, you can't eat shitty food all the time and all that sort of stuff. As you got to be disciplined with a healthy food, and I think fasting as well just helps with that discipline to stay away from shitty food. But shitty food is the best food. It tastes good, but it's what kills you, man. You know what I mean? But
it
that's like
really
anything in life, right? Anything in life. Sorry to cut you, but anything in life, you have to work hard for it. So even freaking being healthy, even having a six pack, you have to work hard. You have to discipline yourself with food. You have to discipline yourself with exercise and stuff. You know what I mean? Nothing in life comes easy, and that's even in our own body. And that's why I love about we spoke a little bit when we were driving back from the gym about Islam, like how I got more into it because I just realized everything I do, everything I love, and discipline of life, it all just comes from our religion. And I just, you know what I mean? I just relate it always back to Islam for me.
Yeah, like no, you've said it, spot on. I mean, it's more so a sense of, well, don't you think it's very weird how if anything comes easily, as humans, we don't appreciate it. If your six pack,
Mm,
you wouldn't appreciate it. If your like, I don't know, if your achievements came easily, you wouldn't appreciate it. So I think the struggle is what gives the after, well, the reward a better sense of purpose, having that six pack, you've kind of fulfilled your purpose in a sense, and your purpose is basically struggling. I mean, as humans, like I'm only 20 years old, and when I tell people this my age, they say to me, they go, "No, it's okay. You can go and party. You can go smoke." Like, I don't smoke or vape at all. I don't do none of that. It's so common, especially like kids nowadays. Like I'm from Birmingham, right? It is so common to see kids just vaping or smoking or having
mm,
of like addiction to something so minute, but yet it just kills you. And I look at this and I think, like, why? Like it makes no sense to me. Like I understand addictions, okay, I understand it, but addiction is not an all or end all. You can end it. It's hard. I mean, food was hard. I mean, this fast is hard. Me studying is hard. Me boxing is hard. So nothing in life comes easy. And I think that's the beauty of life. And I think like the beauty comes in the struggle, and it's the way that you perceive things as well. If you perceive your struggle as something good, I think it makes it much easier than if you perceive your struggle as something bad. Like, for example, I have to go to the migration office, right? I waited outside for about 3 hours straight. 3 hours I waited outside. And then so my ticket was C238. The last person was C234. And I waited for 3 hours and he goes, well, he comes out the migration office. He goes, no more tickets are accepted. I looked at him, I go, wow, I waited 3 hours. But there's beauty in that because now I can, well, now I have now it's kind of taught me to be well prepared, come many hours earlier. 3 hours is not enough. Okay, come 6 hours earlier. So you don't learn from by well, a wise man is someone who learns from other people's mistakes. An intelligent man is someone who learns from his own mistakes. So
mm.
I in that case, I have to learn from my own mistakes and reevaluate and reassess myself in that sense.
Alhamdulillah, man, you're very like you're very mature for your age. Like I mean, like when I was your age, I don't think I even thought about these sort of things or thought in that sort of perspective, man. So that's me, and it's great that you kind of stayed away from all the bullshit. I mean, I stayed away. Like my father always told me. I respect my father so much. Like for me, he's like my hero, man. Like he's for me is like the epitome of a man. Like he worked two, three jobs, just put food on the table, roof over our heads. So, when he was like, stay away from the drugs and smoking and alcohol and all that sort of shit, for me, like at that time, it was more like I don't want to disappoint my father. I stay away from all of that stuff, man. And of course, you grew up with friends who do it, and as you get into college and uni, everyone's drinking, everyone's smoking. It's the cool thing to do. Girls like it, all this sort of shit. And I was just like, don't get me wrong, I grew up very shy. I'm still this person to be honest, but very shy, insecure sort of person. I didn't really like going out and all that stuff, but I did it just because I wanted to fit in. I was that guy, I'm not gonna lie. Now I don't give a shit, right? But back then I did want to fit in. I did want to make friends and all that sort of stuff. But there was a part of me where it's like, you don't drink, you don't smoke. How do you have fun? I used to go through this shit all the time, man. I would work. I grew up with a working society in the UK where it's just a pub, drinking, all that sort of stuff. And I try and avoid going to those places. And it's always like, people are a lot more educated now, which is great. But back then it was so much less education. So they were like, why don't you drink? I don't get it. Like, how do you have fun? How do you have this? How do you? And it was always like in me, like, oh man, I feel very like insecure about myself. But I never folded to any pressure. Like no matter what, I'm always gonna be disciplined to be like, I'm not gonna fold to your pressure. But now I'm older, I'm married and life and families and religion is most my main focus. Man, I'm so comfortable to tell someone, no, I don't drink. I'm not into that shit. Like, just take it. And plus, growing up and like getting into like martial arts and MMA and all that sort of stuff. Some of the people, like some of the UFC like fighters and stuff that I really started admiring and stuff like that. All fighters in general, none of them drink. Like I'm like the baddest man on the planet. Don't even drink. They don't do drugs. And I'm like, so you guys are cool, like smoking and drinking, and you think it's a good. The baddest man on the planet right now don't touch none of that shit. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get inspiration from these guys. I'd rather just get inspiration from them. But it's great that you kind of kept that discipline because a lot of people, it's not easy. Like honestly, like with society being young, the mind's fragile, man. Like it can just bend, and you're like, oh shit, I want to fit in with these people, or I want to make friends, or I want this girl to like me, whatever it is, right? It's like, let me try it. But alhamdulillah, your mind is focused. That's a great thing. Because I didn't compliment you earlier, but I love the fact that your education is priority for you. Like hearing those grades that you got is amazing. I love to hear that not only like you're a boxer and whatnot, but education is key as well. So you've got two lines of careers, you know what I mean? Like the boxing, and just before, hopefully none, but some brain cells will lose. You'll be like, all right, I'm done. Like you'll be educated, you'll be smart enough to be like, all right, I'm going into the doctor side of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Like obviously I know, it's a contact sport and I know like every time you get hit, even the minimal amount, you can lose a bit of brain cells. So I mean, I'm aware of it. My head movement's on point. You might have seen the videos, sometimes I'm so I don't like to get hit as much. Um, but again, it's something that's just inside of me as well. I mean, another thing that you mentioned about your father and like how much you love your father. I mean, we can go into that as well. I love my father absolutely and utterly the most. I know in Islam you should love your mother, you should love your mother, you should love your mother, and then your father, and obviously the first, the prophet. Um, but I love my father, man. I love him so much. He does literally everything for me. And when I was younger, right, I used to get into a lot of arguments with my dad. I was like, come on, like, you shouldn't even say
Yeah,
oof to your parents and stuff. I shouldn't have even said oof to him, but I was like, come on, man, like, why is he being like this? Why is he this and why is he that? Little did I realize how much he genuinely loves me, like
yes, yeah,
like as his little boy. Because we're a family of six, right? So my parents, my older brother, my older sister, my younger sister, and here's me. I'm the third. So I'm basically in the middle, right? Why should he have any focus on me? He like sometimes even at university, I don't really like to hang around with a lot of people. I like to just mainly be by myself. You might have seen my stories, right? I'm just spamming my stories with just like all these random interesting facts or whatever. And I'm just typing like millions of paragraphs because I'm literally just by myself. I have no one to speak to in a sense. Because that's sort of that isolation you get as we were speaking, like when you prioritize yourself and not going out clubbing, drinking, etc. So sometimes I'll just call my dad and I'm just having a conversation with him for like 10 or 15 minutes, just being like, okay, so what you up to? And just an actual conversation. And I think that's it's so dear to my heart because I understand that one day he will go. I understand it completely. I don't want to accept it, but I have to accept it. I know that he will go one day. So the time that I have with him, I want to spend it as much as humanly possible. I want to squeeze all the juice out of it. Um, so yeah, man, like he's the reason why I do relatively well. I mean, maybe 10 years time, I can say that I do so well. but comparing myself to where I want to be, I'm doing relatively well at the moment. I believe. I know I can always do more, and I will do more. Uh, but yeah, that's
Yeah. I 100% agree, man. Like now, as especially like living away from my parents for 10 years, now, man, because I'm game planning to go back. Like everyone's like, why do you want to go back to the UK? And I'm gonna be real with you, I don't want to go back, but with them, with my family, like I have to go back. You know what I mean? No matter the positives in Dubai or Singapore, Hong Kong, wherever I live, none of those positives will overcome the positive of the family being in the UK. And that's why I would want to will go back. But yeah, no, I'm the same, bro. Like alhamdulillah, I got where I am today. God bless me and whatnot. I always praise Allah for it. But my motivation is I never want to let my father down. You know what I mean? And then his father, my grandfather. So if it, I always kind of think about that because he fought in World War II with the British, and then he got invited over to the UK to help rebuild, to London to help rebuild, bring my father over and whatnot. And then my father just hustled as a kid. He just worked. He didn't get to go to school night. So it was that, man. It's like I cannot let them down. The shit what they went through, there's no way in hell that I'm gonna let them down. You know what I mean? So that's why I always try to keep it as disciplined as possible. And of course, like, yeah, like you said, like, when we were young, you had the arguments and you kind of, now, man, I don't like dad, like, whatever, man, whatever you need, whatever you say goes, you know what I mean?
yeah, it goes literally. My dad was 13 when he started working. He sold his first car at 13. His dad died when he was around 16 years old. He remembers telling me exactly, I think he was on the motorway back from Manchester, or Liverpool, was it? He was on he was driving, he just picked up a car, he was driving on the way back and he got a phone call saying that is my grandfather passed away. And at that moment, he realized that he had to be the provider, as the oldest boy, well, not even the oldest child, his older sister's the oldest child. As the oldest boy, he had to provide. Back then it was about, what was it, like 35, 40 years ago. So back then he had to be the provider. At the same time, there was a lot of racism as well. He
Mm,
subjugated to it. And he wasn't free from it as well. Like, you had like the Sheldon Heath skinheads in Birmingham. Uh, they used to make all these I'm gonna say terror attacks because they were. So he had to go through all that shit to raise me to vape. Like,
yeah.
no, thank you, no, thank you, Dad. I will become the doctor that you want me to be. I'll become the dentist and whatnot. So I'll make you proud, Dad.
Yeah, definitely. That's amazing. That's amazing. And we have to, of course, even if it's a part of our religion and whatnot, which is also sunnah to do and everything. But just yeah, the sacrifice there, you just can't let them down. And it happens. Like you make I mean, we make mistakes. That's just a fact
Hey,
of
that's
life.
what's
We're gonna make mistakes. Yeah. But no matter what, like right now, especially like I said with my parents, like, and I love it. Like, I'm a 40-year-old man, bro. Dad calls me, say, oh, I miss you and all that. So mum calls me, I miss you. Have you eaten? Like these simple things that mum would say. Like, I don't care if I'm 40 or 60, she'll still treat me like a baby. And I tell people when I go home, I stay with mum and dad. Man, I get treated like mum treats me like like a baby, you know what I mean? And I'm like, you know what? I know I'm 40, I don't care. I like it. And that's the love, man. That's the love that mothers have, man. That's why it's the best. Like, back in the days, obviously we grew up in the UK, so we grew up with a bit of Western culture and whatnot. I was that guy who was like, yeah, man, I can't wait to move out, get my own space, my own wife, all this sort of
me
stuff.
too.
Now I want the traditional, I want all of us to live together. I love that, bro. I really want
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, literally. I mean, I'm 20 years old now, so I mean, I've moved out, and even I say like, can I have you back, please, mom and dad, please, like,
Yeah.
I want a big household, and I think a lot of I'm very privileged, I will say I'm very privileged, to be able to move out and to be able to study in another country and fight for another country, I'm very privileged. Um, so I can see it from a perspective that most 20-year-olds can't. So I get that luxury. However, a lot of people don't realize how dear and how much we rely on our parents,
Mm.
Uh, no one's telling you to wake up like before, like when I used to wake up for school or sixth form or whatnot, even sixth form, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes used to be like, all right, come on, get up now, come on. She's like, put the light on, put the light on. Like, oh my God, mom, please, why would you turn the light on? That's the worst thing in the world. But you don't get that anymore when you live alone. So, So yeah, it's hidden blessings which we don't see when we're younger. It's only when we get older, which is a way of life, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Was it nervous for you to move out and live alone in a foreign country? Because I done it when I was 30 and super nervous. Like I did it because I got an opportunity that I felt like I couldn't refuse. My parents were nervous for me, they were scared for me, they didn't want me to do it. And I'm like, Dad, if you'd done it at 7, I could do it as a 30-year-old. And yes, it was hard and everything. But how was that feeling for you, man? Did you like I remember Lee, I never forget, man, in the airport, man. Mum got me and all my friends crying, man, because mum just didn't want us to leave and whatnot. She got all of us crying, man. All the grown ass men just crying because I'm leaving. I'm like, oh, mum. And every time to this day, bro, 10 years on, every time I go back to the UK and then I have to leave, mum's always got a 10. I'm like, hold it in, man, hold it in. She's always got me crying and stuff. But how was that experience for you? How was that? Was it nerve-wracking for you?
So yeah, I had a similar experience as well. Like my mom and dad was, she was crying and whatnot. She was like, "Oh, my little butcher, he's going to live alone, medabeta, But for me personally, no, it wasn't nerve-wracking in the sense of I had that mindset of, okay, you know what, it's a new experience. I'm excited for it, what can I learn from it? The one thing that I always have inside of me, which is always, what can I gain from this? What can I learn from this, Uh, I mean, that story that I told earlier, like, when I wait 3 hours, like, what can I learn from this, So I always want to learn something, if from a day-to-day experience, like even this podcast that we're doing now, what can I learn from it? Um, so I think that's the best mental model as well. Was I nervous? Not in the sense of, well, I guess everyone has a little bit of a bit of butterflies about it. You're like, oh, okay. Now, like, I mean, when my parents left, and I was like, okay, now I'm actually all alone. This is me. Right, time to crack on. That's kind of how it was. I had that minute of like, wow, like I really am alone. Right, it's time to just get on with it. Because I don't want to be sitting and thinking about it because the more you think negatively, the more it's going to impact you, and it's just a negative spiral. But I mean, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if there's a negative spiral, you can also have a positive spiral as well. So
Mm.
you have to do things in your day-to-day life, which is going to increase that sort of or give you that momentum. And you just got to keep that momentum up, and every day the rent is due.
Yeah. Well, at least, I mean, look, you're there and at least you know why you're there, which is the studies and everything. But then you found, the boxing gym, your passion and all that sort of stuff. So at least that's something that you got like, yeah, cool. That's going to keep me occupied. My studies and my boxing at least, which is a base. Just being somewhere and not having anything is when the mind starts wandering. Because I remember when I was in Singapore, is when COVID happened. And that was tough. That was tough for me. I mean, I was just by myself. I had to stay in. Singapore's rules were a bit tough. It's like you can't leave, basically. You can't leave the house. You can only leave for like grocery shopping and all that sort of shit. And I was just like, always constantly talking to the family and stuff like that, but I was just stuck. Couldn't do my martial arts. I'd done some workouts and whatnot at home, but that wasn't the same and everything. And obviously I was trying to keep myself occupied with work. But man, that was a tough sort of time. But as long as you got your thing, then at least that keeps your mind sort of focused. I mean, going back to the boxing, like now you got into it. The mother took you there, which is great. Mother knows best. Because look at you now, right? Getting into it and everything, possibly just training and being the champion that you want to be. How have you appreciated boxing more that now you're getting older, you're understanding the body movement, you're understanding like that was there, and also was there other inspirations that you started taking inspiration from professional boxers and stuff like that out there?
Well, I can see, and behind you, you have Muhammad Ali there. I'm also wearing a Muhammad Ali shirt right here.
There you go.
So,
Yes, yes.
I guess if there's one inspiration, it's definitely him. Another inspiration is Amir Khan. I
Yes,
think
you got a shout out from him. I saw that. Yeah, that was sick. Wait? Sorry to divert, but how did that come about? That's awesome.
my coach, Dimitar Shtilkinov, he actually fought Amir Khan in the 2004 Athens Olympics. So
Oh
before
wow.
I was born 2004 December. This was like 2004 in June or something like that. So they fought each other. Now, what were the chances that I moved to a whole different country, like basically a random country, and the fact that my coach fought basically my favorite boxer, who basically he inspired me as well to to take boxing seriously, my last name is Khan as well. Amir Khan. They used to always say to me, they go, so what do you do? I go, okay, I box, and they go, oh, so like Amir Khan, so you're the next
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. So his name has always been about, and his wife actually, my coach's wife, Dimitar's wife, Cassandra, well, we had this conversation about Amir Khan when I first knew that he fought Amir Khan. I was like, I can't believe it, whatever. I took a picture with him. I was like, my coach fought Amir Khan. Everyone have a look. And then, so I was going on about it for months with these guys. I probably got sick and tired of him. So I was like, remember when you fought Amir Khan? Remember when you fought Amir Khan? Like, um, but then she messaged him right about 3 years ago, just saying like, oh, by the way, this is my husband or whatnot. He remember he fought you. He goes, yes, yes, and it was about a two message conversation. It was nothing much about 3 years ago. So to show me the messages, right, she had to message him, Amir Khan. She had to message him, just like she put like a safe emoji. And next thing you know, he replies back. So then she was like, "Oh, remember like Dimitar, like he fought and whatnot." And then the next thing you know, he sends a video of saying, Dimitar, like, we fought before, whatnot, so on and so forth. Then shout out to me. There's a Pakistani boy that boxes in your gym. His name is Sulaiman Khan. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're training well. And that made my night. Like, you should have heard me scream. I was like, oh my God.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like
I
he
can
laughed.
imagine. I can imagine the hype, the inspiration from that. I mean, America giving you because he was amazing boxer when I got. I wouldn't lie and say that I was well into boxing, but because he was a Pakistani Muslim dude, British guy, I was like, you'd follow someone like him, what's his name? Prince Nassim as well was another dude. But I've mostly followed like other martial arts sports. So I didn't really follow boxing too much, except some of the big names and whatnot. But to get a shout out from him must have been amazing.
I was buzzing. I was over the moon. He's the youngest. He was 17 at the time when he won silver for the for Great Britain. The youngest ever Olympian for Britain boxing. So I mean, he's an inspiration to me. A big inspiration.
Well, inshallah, you guys meet in person. He did say, like, I think he did say on that message, right, that he would love to meet you in person. So
Me,
inshallah, one day.
meet my coach. Well, in turn, well, my coach was, me and him are very close. So he'll probably, help me meet him as well.
It's amazing. Well, he lives in Dubai now. I believe he moved to Dubai, right?
Yeah, so I even went to his gym, right? Box IQ. I went there I didn't even know it was his gym. I went there
Okay.
at the same time when I seen you. So I was exploring different gyms. So TK MMA, this Cuban boxing gym, and this Box IQ. And when I went in, I seen like AK written on the rings, and I was like, AK. So I asked someone to go, is this like sponsored by American? They go, this is the gym. I go, what?
Oh, wow. Okay.
I go, wow, okay then.
That's awesome. Yeah. Because I think he went for some troubles and stuff in the UK and whatnot. There was like loads of viral clips going. I think he's like his Rolex watch got jammed. And I don't blame anyone to be like, let's get the fuck out of the UK, man. And it's just so dangerous. I mean, this is why like I don't want to go back because of all this sort of shit. You don't care. It doesn't matter who you are, man. You could just be in like it's not safe, you know what I mean? Just the way the society is. But like I said, obviously I'll go back just because of family and stuff. But it's great that he's out here now. At least hopefully, inshallah, he can live more in a calmer mind. And I know he's doing a lot for boxing or for people in Pakistan, kids in Pakistan, opening up boxing gyms and stuff like that. He's doing a lot of charity work for them and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And his wife actually, she's pro. Well, I mean, they're pro-Palestinian, right? Um, and while I may not agree with a lot of the things she does, what I can agree on is that the fact that she was very pro-Palestinian, very vocal about it, especially as someone with a platform as big as hers, and she had loads of sponsor deals, which kind of cut her off. They were like, okay, we're not doing this no more. And it just goes to show. It goes to show like who's who, where the ball lies in whose ballpark does it lie in, and it lies in not the Palestinians, but rather the Israelis and the Zionists. So it goes to show who really has the power, and it goes to show that when you speak out, against genocide, when you speak, when you're pro-Palestinian, when you speak out against apartheid states, and when you speak out against cruelty and absolute evil, they will demonize you and they will make your life hell, So it's I'm very happy that she was able to withstand the persecution. Um yeah, man, and that's the praise that I give to Faria.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I mean, it's so crazy that we're in a world that if you speak up against inhumane shit, you're speaking up for humanity. I don't want children to die. Like literally that. I don't want children to die.
On both
You get
sides, on both
demonized.
sides. Yeah.
How crazy is that? I mean, me and my brother, we talk about it on our podcast and whatnot. So we've always had like a segment in our podcast, kind of like where we just kind of talk, called like real world issues type of thing. And we've always kind of spoke about Palestine, spoke about Congo, Sudan, and stuff like that here and there. Then obviously after what happened October 2023, when we spoke about it, man, we got shadow banned. Our channel, our views, even though we don't get millions of views, but our views went straight down. It'll be like 2 views, which is just me and my brother. Like our content was just because we said, we don't like we support the freedom of Palestinian people. Well, that's it. Like literally, I can say I don't want any innocent people to die. I can easily say that, whoever it is, right? But I don't like when we spoke up for the Palestinians, immediately we got shadow banned. So I'll be like, people got a lot to lose, like especially like celebrities who are like, you're getting that money in, you're getting that fame, you got the sponsorship stuff. There's a lot that you can lose. We lost like a little YouTube channel a little bit. I'm like, cool, it doesn't matter. Yes, we worked hard. To us, it means a lot. We worked hard for it, but it will still sign. But we're like, fuck it, we're just gonna carry on saying it. And we carry on did, and to this day we still talk about it and whatnot. It changed. I think the whole narrative of the world has changed. So it's kind of like they can't suppress it anymore. You can't suppress it, right? The whole world knows about the evil of the Zionist movement, the evil. The whole world, people have gone down research, and that's the what as bad as it sounds. Like the one positive thing that came out of it is finally that they were not able to suppress the evils that they are. Because for the longest time they were, because we didn't have the internet, right? We didn't have social media, we didn't have easy access. Now what they've done is really expose themselves of the evil that they are, and that's the one big positive I would say that came out of it. As fucked up as it sounds, because the shit that they're going through now, even to this day, Donald Trump talking about we're gonna go occupy God, all this sort of stuff. Like I just don't get it. I'm like, what? How the hell are we in 2025 and we are not evolved as human beings? Like, I still think we're barbarians. I really do. We're just barbarians with technology and fucking, that's what it is. Barbarians with technology. We're still trying to conquer land and all that stuff. When I say we, listen, we're living under an empire right now, and that's what empires do. No, and I don't know, but I don't think any empire, because power corrupts, right? I don't think any empire would really be truly good to the people. There's always going to be some sort of corruption, but
There's al- Yeah, there's always corruption. It's just smoke and mirrors, laws and governments. It's all just smoke and mirrors for well, let me tell you something, right? So there's a religion, you must have heard of it, a religion. It's called Satanism, right? So here's what Satanists believe, and the elites and the Freemasons and all this. They believe something called karmic retribution. Have you heard of it?
no.
So karmic retribution is the following, right? If I have an apple, right, and I give you an apple, but it's poisoned, I say to you, this apple is not poisoned. If you eat it, you'll be okay. You eat it, you die. Then I believe karma will get me. I don't believe, in just or whatever. I believe karma will get me. However, if I have an apple, I say it's poisoned, but it gives you the benefits, or it'll make you rich, or make you live longer, or it's healthy, whatever. I'll just sell you a lie, but I tell you that it's poisoned. I show you that it's poisoned. You eat it. You ate it. I told you that it was poisoned. It's your choice. You're the one who ate it. Now you eat the apple, you die. I don't get any karma from it because I showed you. I literally showed
Mm.
you. This is what they do, whether it was 9/11 and they showed it in posters, whether it was Gaza and Netanyahu's, he said about, I think it was a 2004 interview. He goes, yeah, we need to decimate these people or whatnot. We need to get a land that's only, for the state of Israel or whatnot. They literally show you in real time, you know. So they can say they can turn back and say, well, I told you, you know. There's also a nicer verse of the Quran. I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't know exactly the verse, but it was like on the day of judgment, right? Uh, you know, when the hellfire invites the people in, and the gates are shut, they will say to Satan, they will say to Shaitan, they will say, "Well, you told us, that you would do so and so. You told that you would keep it safe." He goes, "I cannot help you. Everything that you done was on your own accord. I only manipulated you guys. Everything was done on your own accord. I cannot help you on this day." You know, so it just goes to show that if they show you in real time, then they cannot turn around and say, okay, but we didn't manipulate you. We didn't coerce you in any sort of way. Um, and this is what they believe that when Donald Trump, I mean, he said that we're gonna build land on Gaza. Like, okay, number one, it's not your land to build on, and number two, why should you have to build on it? Why don't you, ask for reparations from Israel? Why don't you keep the sanctions on him? When he went into power, I think the first thing he did was lift the sanctions off of Israel. The first thing he did was lift sanctions off of Israel. Like how, like what? It just makes
I
no
feel
sense.
like I feel like I honestly I feel like US is not an extension of Israel. I think US is an extension of Israel. Like
Yeah,
Israel controls the US. Like everyone knows that with APAC and all that sort of stuff, funding the world.
yeah.
But they literally control the US. And I'm like, it's great that a lot of the US people are waking up to be like, why we're supposed to be America first. And I support that. Every country should be there, look after their people. But like they're constantly controlled by Israel. I just don't understand like how they just get it. Like I just don't, they get away with it because they got nukes pointed at the whole world. That's what it is. They have the whole world hostage with the nukes. We will smash everyone. That's what there is. But you know what? Like, you've turned everyone else against you. Like, listen, man, I love America. I love all this shit here. All of this is American, right? I grew up with watching the movies, all that stuff. There's a lot of like inspiration, like not inspiration, what's the word? All the shit I grew up with, basically, right? But they're turning the whole, like, you want to be an empire, you want to be the world's police. You literally, because of Israel, you've ruined your reputation and you're turning the whole world against you. Now you got like this BRICS. I'm not fully educated about this, but you got the whole global South and this whole BRICS thing, which is like the competitor to G7 or whatnot. What do you
Oh,
think? Like, you think Russia and South Africa and South America, they're just gonna like all these countries in what Asia, all this are just gonna sit back and be like, oh yeah, you guys should. It's like, guys, why don't we just team up and be our own group of people? I'm just waiting to the point where that BRICS whole thing like kind of grows up. They have their own economy, which I think they're working on and whatnot. And they're like, cool, US, Israel, do what you want to do. We're gonna do what we do. Like, I don't want there to be war, and that's what's scary about it, right? Because it's so easy for these people to press a button and kill each other or whatnot. I don't understand the humanity of people. Like I just don't get it. But like without war, it's got to be like a financial thing, you know. BRICS goes up, the economy's higher and whatnot. It's like, fuck you, US, we're not going to trade with you. And Israel, we don't want to trade with you. You can't use none of our resources. And we're going to just kind of stick with ourselves. And that's how it should be. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, corruption still corrupts. I don't think anything is perfect. I'm pretty sure if the global South has their own sort of thing, there's going to be corruption between. But you know, when it comes to killing people and just, you know, just being like we're barbarians and, we're just going to take the land and, you know, build shit and all that sort of stuff on other people's land. Just goes to show like you guys are still living in that 1800th century and that sort of mentality, and you just expect the whole world to just accept it because you have nukes pointed at everyone. Man, it's fucking crazy. It upsets me, man. I mean, the last year changed my whole perspective on the world and people and everything, man.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think people are starting to wake up now. Well, in the UK, we send billions, and I mean billions of our own money to Israel. Why are we going to proxy wars? Why are we funding other wars for? Why? That has nothing to do with us. Why? Because we're in NATO, because we're in like these are just words. These are just like associations. Again, what I said earlier, that it's just smoke and mirrors, you know? It doesn't mean anything, you know? Just because you're in a group doesn't mean that you have to send billions, go and kill another whole civilian, a civilization. Netanyahu even said, he wants to kill them all. What do you mean kill them all? The people who voted for Hamas. Because there were only about two governments that they could have voted for. One of them being Hamas. So everyone that voted for Hamas has to die as well. What? It makes no sense to me, you know. It gets me how do you say aggravated in a sense.
No, no, listen, I feel you. Like last year, especially. I mean, look, I'm still feeling the same, but my mental space was just all over the place because I just couldn't believe like how the fuck are we in 2024? We're still so inhumane. Like this is just crazy. I mean, listen, they've exposed themselves so much to be so evil, and clearly, I'm talking about the evil of at this point of time, the most evil people on the planet. Talking about killing children, killing them all. Like that's evil. I don't even know how else to put it, man. It's just disgusting.
Nowhere,
But
nowhere-
the world is seen.
yeah. Nowhere in their text does it say that you can kill innocent people, you know. The true rabbis I mean, I'm friends with a few. The true rabbis, they stand up against this genocide.
Yes,
They say
yeah.
this is genocide. They say we stand up against this is not Judaism, you know?
Yes,
You
yeah.
know, we are from the books of Abraham, you know? So we are closer to the Jews than we are with the atheists, or than we are with the Hindus or the Sikhs or whatnot. So we're more closer with you guys. Why are you killing us? It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's a good point. Like, because all of them Jewish brothers in Stamford Hill, like the proper Jews, the rabbi, they just apart, all that sort of stuff. All of them, like, majority are against Israel because it's, yeah, as you said in their book, they're not about killing innocent people and all that sort of stuff. And it's, so I believe in their book, it also says that they're not supposed to have a land until the Messiah comes back or something like that in that sort of term. So they don't believe in the state of Israel themselves, and they're the Jews, they're Jews. And there's a Jewish brother I saw on an Instagram post where he was arguing against the Zionists. That's why me and my brother, we talk about this all the time, right? Zionists are not Jews, right? This is a whole propaganda thing. Like those Zionists hijacked the Jewish religion, right? They weaponized the struggles that the Jews went through, especially in World War II, to do what they're doing today. They're not Jews, right? And that needs to go out there more. But obviously, they control the mainstream media. They pull it all together. Zionist is basically saying that Jews have what do you call it, have a right to that land or some shit like that. They are not Jewish people. They've hijacked that religion. But yeah, real Jewish brothers are all against that. And this one brother was saying to this Zionist, he was like, so okay, before the 1920s, how come everything was fine? What happened in the 1920s? Why is there a whole Jewish Muslim fighting going on over there? What happened after the 1920s? This Zionist couldn't even argue back. He was like, how come Jews and Muslims lived peacefully before? What changed? And the guy couldn't even answer back.
They always mention like the Arab Treaty and how the Arabs broke the treaty and whatnot. But I mean, if we want to go into the depths of things, we can. But I mean, the layman person can just see this for how it is. It can look at it and just be like, what has an 11-year-old girl done to have her legs being blown to smithereens? What has she done? You know, and they want to say, October 7th, and we need to get our revenge or whatnot. Is this getting your revenge? Killing babies, killing innocent children. You see the hostages they got released from Hamas. You see the hostages. You see how happy they were. You see the hostages from Gaza. You see how when
Mm.
they came back and there was this one bodybuilder who had like a 5% fat percentage on him. He couldn't even walk properly. And the hostages or the hostages, if you want to say that, inside with Hamas for the Israeli hostages, they came out like they just came out the movies.
Yeah, they were
And they
healthy and everything,
and the-
smiling. They got goodie bags and shit. Fucking
yeah,
hell.
and they even learned Arabic as well. So I mean, it's just absolutely bizarre. It's
I
absolutely
think
bizarre.
like I said, the only positive thing that came out of they really exposed themselves. Regardless of they still unfortunately run shit, but inshallah things will change because the world really like can't stand by this, especially when Trump's trying to now what he's trying to do. I don't know what I just hope war doesn't happen because nobody wants more death and whatnot. So I hope that don't happen. But I'm like, come on, like I wish these countries just like cool enough, like sanction. We don't want no more business with you lot. You lot do business, sell oil to each other, whatever. I don't care. We're out. We're not going to do any business with the US or Israel. But I don't know. I just don't know why that doesn't happen. Yeah, I don't know the geopolitical stuff. I'm not educated enough or whatnot. But it's just in my mind, I'm like, they did that for South Africa, and they put sanctions on them and all that. Why can't you do that for this right now? And I know some countries have, but I'm talking about some of the other bigger ones, man. Just be like, I'm done, no more. But I don't know. It's fucking heartbreaking, man.
I don't think a war will ever happen. Well, in the near future, anyways. Well, they weaponized and said, Putin's gonna press the button, Putin's gonna start the war. When Tucker Carlson did the interview with the Putin, they all said like, why are you doing a interview with the enemy? Why are you doing this and that, this and. But then he goes, I don't want to start a war. I don't know where this has come from. So again, it's just scaremongering amongst people. It's telling people, no, we're not starting the war. It's them, even though they're the ones that's prompting over and over. Like you see the war in Ukraine and Russia. Now, I do not condone what's going on. I want to make that clear. I do not condone what's going on. However, if you push the border closer and closer and closer to the sworn enemy, are they not going to retaliate back? Are they not going to say,
Exactly.
no, you are taking our land. You are trying to get Ukraine to join NATO. You're trying to, no, we're not having this. Give us our land back, you know? And this has been going on. This is well before 2017 or 2018 when when the Russian war and Ukraine war happened. This is going well before it. If you watch Tucker Carlson and Putin interview, he goes, it's just crazy to me how the media, it can change a perspective on anything regardless of the circumstance that it's in right now. You could be I mean, the Muslim groomer gangs, for example, they blew that out of proportion. They say that it was Muslims doing it when they commit about 8% of the crimes. They say that there was a cover up from Keir Starmer. Whatever prime minister you're having, he's bad. Rishi Sunak bad. Keir Starmer bad. David Cameron bad. Margaret Thatcher bad. Whatever. The media controls how a person thinks, because the layman person is not going to go after his 9 to 5 and going to go and do his extensive research. He's going to look at BBC News or Sky News and he's going to see exactly what's on the news. And on the news is
Hmm.
Keir Starmer's cover up for Muslim groomer gangs. Okay, Keir Starmer is bad. Go on Twitter. All you see is EDL Reform UK. Get rid of all the Pakis. Get rid of all the Muslims. This and that. This and that. And it just controls the narrative. So the media does control how a person thinks, whether you like it or not. And you just have to kind of be self-aware in the sense of knowing what to believe and what not to believe. If the
Yeah.
media tells you something, you gotta ask yourself, why do they want me to believe this? Why are they saying that Muslims commit? Why are they saying that there's a scandal about Muslims grooming little girls and picking them up or whatnot? Why do they want me to believe this? Even though Muslims have done literally so much for the UK, like 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 our gross domestic. I don't even know what it is. What's our GDP? Do you know?
I don't know exactly, but it's in the billions, put it that way.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
sure it is, yeah.
Yeah, for the Muslims, you can go on like Ladypool Road, Stratford Road, Coventry Road. It's just full of businesses and businesses and businesses. So the money comes from us. The money's generated. Uh, so you have to ask them, why do they want me to believe this? Is it to create a scandal? Is it to actually is it to cover up what's going on, to keep it distracted, to not question about what's going on in another countries like Israel or Palestine, to focus on what's going on here. This is more important. Black and white, you don't like each other. Fight against each other. Whilst I said billions and billions to Ukraine, you guys fight. You guys don't worry about what we're doing. That's basically how it is.
Yeah, I just remind me, there's a quote from Malcolm X, and I'll probably butcher it, but it was something that the media is so powerful that it makes you think that, that you have to support the
That's it.
oppressors and the oppressed are the bad. I butchered the shit out of that, but it's in those sort of terms. But the media, I mean, look, the media is well known to be like a whole propaganda machine. So thank God, honestly, for social media, even though they're trying to buy up social media and so they're trying to do that shit as well. But if it weren't for social media, because you're right, like the average person doesn't have time to do their own research. They don't, right? That's why they just fed what they see on the mainstream, and they're just gonna have to go off that. All right, that's what it says and whatnot. But this whole thing to like demonize Muslims and whatnot, it's a strategy. I think it's a strategy from Israel. It's a strategy. I think that started off like in the early 70s or 80s or something to associate that word terrorist with Muslims. It was a propaganda strategy by them. So when you kill 17,000 children in Palestine, it's kind of, oh yeah, the Muslims. It's all right. It's all right. Like the media, yeah, you've been fed so much shit like they're Muslims, they're bad, they're terrorists, all that shit. When children get murdered, it's kind of, it's okay to do that. And that's what happens to society. The propaganda machine, the media is a propaganda machine. And listen, when I work for the media, I work for the Wall Street Journal. I don't feel good about it. I'm not going to lie, but I understand what it is. I understand that it's propaganda news, it's narrative news. Like, this is the narrative news. Like you know what I mean? Like that's what it is. It's not the real news. If it was the real news, real journalism, then you cover all perspectives. Maybe you cover the Israeli perspective as you do, but you should also cover the Palestinian perspective, and that's never going to happen. But that's why, again, thank God for social media, for them to kind of point it out that because of that, because we're able to see it live exactly what's happening. That's why last year, they got exposed completely. Like it completely got exposed. So the mainstream media it is full of shit. It's a propaganda fucking machine. That's exactly what it is. I think a lot of the world saw that as well, and they're seeing it. Some people, unfortunately, they're locked. Like I follow Fox News, I follow BBC. Like one of my good friends, I was talking to him, and he was telling me that he trusts the BBC. I'm like, bro, let me just show you a couple of things. Whatever you believe, you believe. But I'm just asking you, man, you've got to see some other shit because the BBC is getting like slated for so much for their biased journalism bullshit. And the best you could do is like, because that is one of my close friends. I'm not going to argue it with him. I'm like, this is what I'm seeing, brother. If you could go do your research, do it. If you don't have time, so be it. It's nothing I can do about it. But it's bullshit, man. It's all a listen, man. With empires, that's a part of it. Like back in the days, I think with empires, like Genghis Khan or Alexander, it was like we come, we conquer, steal the women, steal the food, steal the land, done. Now it's that, but it's as well as the media. It's as well as McDonald's and Coca-Cola and stuff. You know what I mean? It's the movies, Hollywood. It's everything. Like this is an empire that controls you with everything, food, like entertainment, and then in the background as well, taking your land and all this sort of stuff and demonizing you. It's like an evolving strategy of an empire who's trying to dominate the world. But what every empire falls, man, and the more evil you get and the more evil you allow to happen, and the world sees it. How long is your empire gonna last? Like you're not the good guys anymore. Like you always pull it in our heads that you're the good guys. The whole world sees that you're not the good guys. Like you can see that, and you still think after killing 65,000 innocent people, 20,000 children, you still think that you're the good guy. I can't believe it, but sometimes I watch some of this shit on Piers Morgan, and I'm like, fuck, man, you still think you're the good guys? Jesus Christ, like it drives me nuts, man. I shouldn't say Jesus Christ. I shouldn't say that.
But Piers Morgan, like he's a cattle cow for Israel. You know,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
a guinea pig. That's all he is. That's all he is. He's a little scapegoat. That's all he is. The guy. He'll always say, "Oh, but I've done so much for the Muslims. Remember the Iraq War? Remember when I done so and so, mate? That was about 10 years ago. We're talking about now. We're talking about like now. You know, I don't care what you done 10 or 15 years ago. That doesn't have any relevance. The fact that you're getting Israeli contestants on, you're not questioning them at all. But when Muhammad Hijab comes on and Shmuli comes on, and you're there to Muhammad Hijab, like, okay, you got to calm down and let him speak about how genocide is a good thing. Do you condemn Hamas? Do you condemn Hamas? Like, what is that? Is that the only thing that you can say? And you can say, oh, but I've got Palestinians representatives on. No, you brought them on so you can grill them, so you can say to them, oh, okay, so do you condemn Hamas? Do you condemn Hamas? I've asked Jeremy Corbyn this 15 times. Do you condemn Hamas? Do you condemn Hamas? It's just blatant one-sided journalism, if you want to call it that. You know, they tried to ban TikTok as well. I mean,
Mm.
you mentioned with the social media thing, they tried to ban it in America, but I think it was overturned because people realized that you could the more that you try to hide it, the more people are like curious about why you're trying to hide it. They started questioning it. They started questioning why are you trying to hide it for? What are you hiding from me? TikTok? What do you mean? Like how is it a Chinese weapon? You know, like what?
But that's the propaganda they push out there, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that, yeah.
propaganda. You know?
Yeah, they push out. I mean, look, clearly, the world, man, people have seen they tried to ban TikTok because young people especially, were learning about Israel, what Israel's doing through TikTok. But they would push it out there with, oh no, it's Chinese, they're stealing our data. Yeah, they probably are. So is everyone else, for fuck's sakes,
Oh,
right?
you.
So it would, yeah, exactly. So they pull it out there to like that's the main reason. But no, clearly it's because it's what people are learning about what's happening in Israel and Palestine, and they're learning the history. And you've got these amazing, like just regular people putting their stories out there. Like, listen, bro, like I'm not gonna lie, bro. I was a victim of mainstream media, right? One, I was young. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't give a shit about the world. So I just kind of lived my life and all that sort of stuff. I knew a little bit about Palestine, but I would bad excuse, but I was just young and I was living my life and I was just a victim of mainstream media. I think it was around 2016 or 18. Like I started listening more. I started reading into books a bit more, and I started like this. I got really into like Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali, and I started reading their books, and they would talk about the freedom of the Palestinians, and I was like, I need to read into that more. So I started reading into that more, and then I started like really got into it and whatnot, and then I got into like that normal Finkelstein, Eli Pape, and what I do is like when I tell people like I'm quoting only Jewish people, like them sort of guys, like listen to them, like you know what I mean. I'm not gonna quote you like other people because you're probably gonna say, oh, that's bias or whatnot. Listen to what the Jewish brothers are saying. Like that's it's coming from their mouths and shit. But I was a victim to that too, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. And now I'm like, I can't stand the mainstream media. I think it's full of shit, even though I fucking work for one. Yeah, I feel like a fucking. Sometimes when I say that, I say it I put myself out there, I'm not lying. I feel like a fucking fraud or something, man. I feel like a hypocrite. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you're doing a good thing for the world, you know. You're putting yourself out there and you're showing the hypocrisy and the double standards of the mainstream media. So you're doing a good thing for society, man. And it has
I don't know about that, but we're trying. I think the main thing is like, like what me and my brother we talk about, with our little platform that we have is like what we could do as ordinary people. Because people always ask like, what can I do? It's like, just like speak out, be it share or speak out, donate, donate whatever you can to the people and everything. And those are those and boycott the shit out of shit that you don't need. And you know what? The boycott movement, I have to be honest with you, man. Like I used to drink Starbucks. I used to have McDonald's here and there. I'm not gonna lie, I did. Yeah, I mean, I used to do it all the time, but I used to drink Starbucks almost every week. It was like a go-to easy. Bro, the boycott movement got me away from that bullshit. It's shitty food anyway, lad. And I was like, you know what? Actually, done me a favor for my health, and now I'll rather support local businesses and whatnot. So those are the three things I'd always tell people that you can do as an ordinary person. Like boycott the shit out of those places, fucking expose and just speak about it and whatnot, and donate whatever you can to the Palestinian people or anyone, Congo, Sudan. There's so much shit going on in the world. We need to know because I'm just reading this book about the cobalt mines in Congo, and I'm like, fuck, man, there's still slaves there. And it's fucking horrendous. It just breaks my heart that I'm reading these stories about these kids are in these cobalt mines to power all this shit. And where we supply, like we're the ones getting all the shit too. But these main corporations that get these cobalts for the lithium batteries, exploiting the Congolese people. Like I don't know if you're into like comic books and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, we're geeking out the Brothers Geek Out podcast shit. Congo should be like Wakanda, which is where Black Panther's from. They have that mineral. What have I got black for? But they got yeah, exactly. They got the mineral that all the mineral. Bro, Congo should be one of the richest places on the planet, but they've been exploited from day one. From like oh man, it's just horrendous what I'm reading and whatnot, man. But it's like this, like what's happening there. It breaks my heart, and this is what I'm trying to say. Like Palestine, we need to speak about it and whatnot. Voices for Congo needs to come out as well because some of these corporations, man, they need to face justice, man, because they're literally holding a slave trade over there, and it's disgusting. That country should be the richest country in the world, and they're just getting exploited for all their minerals. It's fucking
yeah.
crazy.
Africa was supposed to be the richest continent in the world until, the African scandal where Russia came, where America came, where England came, and they just absolutely drenched and just stole everything. Whether it was Ethiopia, where the British came, and they just tried, they attempted to take over Ethiopia, they took over Somalia, they took over like Egypt, like just anything and everything where there was just richness, it was just extracted. And yeah, it's very disgusting what they done. They knew that Africa would have been a superpower. They knew that Africa would have been
Yeah,
the strongest country in the world. But it's got everything. It literally has everything. It has gold. It has diamonds. It has riches. It has oil, especially a lot of oil. It's got everything that Africa could be its own world.
yeah.
Every other country in the planet. Africa could have been its own little world. But they knew that and they stole from it.
It's a
Um,
shame.
Another thing that you mentioned was about the boycotting. By the way, just a little side question. You know where we live? You know the community center? Is the Starbucks still up and running?
Haven't been there in ages, but I'm assuming so it is. Yeah. I mean, look,
Yeah.
in the UAE, I have to be honest with you, in the UAE, like I can't
Yeah.
speak much about that
I
here,
was,
but
I
we're
was,
gonna keep right.
I was,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I was
Yeah.
gonna
But you
say,
know what I'm gonna say, like
yeah, yeah,
everything's
yeah,
open here. There's, it's all open here and whatnot. But Egypt and some of the Middle East and Malaysia, Indonesia, those countries, man, those Starbucks, KFCs, McDonald's, have been shut down and whatnot, man. But
yeah.
yeah, no, I think it's still open here.
Yeah. Yeah, nah. I mean, like in the UK, like I'm very heavy on the boycott. I'm very extremely heavy. Like I even question people sometimes. I go like, obviously, like I don't want to just be that person that's like,
Mm,
boycott now, boycott this, boycott that. But I'll be like, well, that's going to fucking genocide. That's going to,
yeah,
they'll be
yeah,
like, oh, but it's only one cup or whatever. It goes, it's one cup for you. But how about when it's a million cups, How about when it's a billion
yeah,
cups? Okay, again, so I mean, change comes from one person, Change comes from within yourself. If you can't, it was a hadith from the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He goes, if you can't change the world, you have to, change your country. If you can't change your country, change your town. If you can't change your town, change your community. If you can't change your community, change your household. If you can't change your household, change within yourself. Change
Mm.
starts within yourself, you know. So before anything, I have to obviously be perfect as well. Obviously perfection is, is impossible, but we can strive for it. Sometimes when you buy a war bottle, you don't know like whether it's from Israel or not.
Mm.
We just have to be mindful of certain things, you know. If you know or if you've heard about like boycotting for McDonald's or Starbucks, you're not gonna die if you don't have a latte, you know? You're not gonna die if you don't have
Yeah.
you're gonna die if you don't have a Big Mac. Like, come on, like there's so many other options. Pepe's is much better than McDonald's, you know? McDonald's is so much better, you know? So it's who cares if it's like £4 extra, you know? Like at least it's going to, a better business, a better person, a better company, you know, than a corporation that doesn't even care about its own staff, you know?
Yeah,
Come in,
exactly.
come in 5 minutes late, and then you'll see what time it is really, you know? So
Yeah.
I guess the genocide supporters are just a vocal minority. As you said, they control the mainstream media. So the ones who do support genocide, they are again a vocal minority as well. I think the vast majority of people, if you show them, I don't think people are stupid, you know. If you show them, or if you even ask them, go, what's your stance on Israel Palestine? Some will just say the ignorant ones would be like, I don't know, I don't want to get involved. It has nothing to do with my country, Britain first, whatever, blah blah blah. But if you actually speak to a person on a deeper level and you ask them, you're like, okay, do you support the killing of innocent children and whatnot? They're like, no, I do not support what Israel is doing right now. I do not support them. It's not mutually exclusive. Just because you don't support Israel doesn't mean you support Palestine.
Yeah,
It just shows
exactly.
it's not you don't have to be a Israel support a Palestine supporter to be against Israel. They're not mutually exclusive, you know. So it's more so a case of having humanity more so than getting involved in politics. Even though it's so stupid to me, like I'm 20 years old, right? I'm probably the only 20-year-old in my university that actually gives a shit, you know. You probably see my stories all the time that actually gives somewhat of a shit. The rest of them would just be like, oh. Yeah, I know it's bad, but I mean, yeah. So what happened yesterday? Yeah, no, I just seen it on my TikTok, but I was scrolling past it. Like, they're just very ignorant, you know. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm subjugated to it as well. I can be ignorant at times as well. Again, like what's going on in Congo, like I don't have much idea on what's going on there. It's good that you're educating me on that. So, again, we can as humans be fallible to certain things such as ignorance. That's something that we just have to work on, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but this is what I'm trying to say. Like with Congo, I actually found out through the Joe Rogan podcast and whatnot. And when I
Really?
said last year my perspective on the world and people change, it's changed on Joe Rogan too. I said, listen, but I found out about Joe Rogan, maybe like 10 years ago, whatnot. He taught me about the lies of the Iraq War and the lies about weapon mass, all that sort of shit. So I was like, oh shit, this dude's serious and whatnot. Obviously, I watch him in the UFC, but I didn't know about this perspective. So, bro, I watched his podcast, not every single episode. Like, bro, I don't like to use this word, but religiously, every single episode I listen to. Last year, man, he lost all my respect, man, all my respect, because I thought he was my guy that speaks out for the people. Clearly, he's either he's a Zionist, he's owned by them, or he's just got. I know he's got so many Zionist friends he has them on the podcast. He just doesn't want to. He's scared to upset them, and I just was like, enough. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of his close friends, like Dave Smith and some of these people, they and he's a Jewish dude. They speak about the Palestinian situation and whatnot.
Bilal Mohammed,
But
the YouTube channel, was on his podcast as well.
which one? Who's that? Sorry.
Bilal Mohammed, he's a
Yeah,
Palestinian.
yeah, exactly. So yes, you do have them sort of guys coming up, but clearly, like Joe, like for being such a powerful voice, I was like, bro, you. When I say let me down, who am I? I ain't shit anyway. But I just my perspective changed. I'm not. I guess the word's like disappointed. You know what I mean? I was just disappointed. Like, come on, man, you're supposed to be the guy for like a voice for the people, speaking up against bullshit, regardless of what side you're on, because he always tried to be like neutral. But clearly, he has a perspective, and even with like Islam. Now, after listening to all of his podcasts, like for so many years, I'm like, this guy only gets his Islamic knowledge from Zionists. Like, of course they're gonna talk shit about Islam. Like, okay, cool. If you're interested in Islam, because Joe always says he always wants to talk to people that what he's interested in. That's his philosophy. Whatever I'm interested in, I'll talk to. So if you've got a clear interest in Islam, but you want to learn about Islam from Zionists, clearly you just want to learn or you want to be told bad shit about Islam. Why don't you get someone who's, someone who is Muslim who can kind of be account of those points or teach you something? So Anyway, I mean, last year, especially with the Gaza thing, because he kept on talking, he always spoke about Ukraine and how much billions did the US send to the Ukraine. I'm like, how come but he never mentioned Israel and the billions that they sent to Israel? So my perspective on him changed, and I was like, man, I can't listen to this dude no more.
Yeah.
Because it's just disappointing, man. But that's what I'm saying. I don't give a fuck. I mean, I ain't shit to him anyway. It doesn't matter. But well, what I'm saying is like my perspective on people changed, man. I used to have so much respect for so many. Floyd Mayweather was another dude. I used to
Oh,
have so much respect for that dude. And I
yeah.
was like, what a fucking
Clown.
uh,
Not even the word. Clown's not even the word.
can't believe it. And I was like, fuck, like this, like I said, there's a moment of disappointment. I was like, oh fuck, what the fuck, like what, how? Like I get disappointed, but again, I don't know what people, these celebrities, and I mean, I shouldn't really give a shit about these celebrities, but they do have a voice, they do have an impact of public opinion and whatnot. And when you use the platform like that to fucking support the oppressors. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing? That's why, and you think you're more of a goat than Muhammad Ali. That's why Muhammad Ali will live. His name will live in history forever. Your
I had
name
a
will be
tap my
forgotten.
shirt. See Muhammad
Yeah,
Ali, you
that's what
know?
I'm saying.
So
That you're he's Mayweather's name would drop out of history eventually, right?
yeah,
Muhammad Ali's name will live forever when it comes because of
it's
what he did
and
outside of boxing and everything.
yeah, it's just stained in there. Like Floyd, I mean, Mike Tyson put it perfectly. Like Floyd cannot walk without his bodyguards. Muhammad Ali walked by himself. Allah was his bodyguard, you know. Who's Floyd Mayweather's bodyguard, you know? He went to
Exactly.
London and he got chased out of London.
Yeah,
But that ain't
yeah.
he was accepted by the people, you know. He went in jail because he refused to partake in a war that wasn't related to it. He refused to partake and go kill innocent Vietnams. He refused to do any of that, you know. So Muhammad Ali's name will always be stained throughout the history of humankind, whether it's boxing, whether it's the most respected people and the most influential people of all time. You know, Muhammad Ali is one of the best men like obviously after Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, one of the best men that have ever walked and ever graced the ring, and I don't think anyone will come like him. A man like him will probably, I don't think we'll ever see someone like him. There may be people that come with perhaps even 10% of what he was, you know. If you read his whole life and his whole biography, how he went to Africa, and he even helped prevent a suicide from taking place. I don't know if you've seen that video. There was a man that was gonna kill himself by jumping off a
Mm.
building. Muhammad Ali literally walked. Do you think Floyd Mayweather would ever walk up about 10 stories high and console a man to not kill himself? No, he would be like, I don't care. He's not as rich as me.
Yeah,
I'm Money Mayweather. He's not as rich as me. So it's uh
yeah.
it's a very
He's clearly shown that he sold his soul to money. Clearly
yeah.
shown so. Now, Muhammad, like I said, I mean that's what I'm saying about Muhammad Ali. His name will live in history, inside and outside of boxing. Alhamdulillah, his name is Muhammad, and he used that name to. Alhamdulillah, he's got that name. Like he just pushes that name out there. You know what I mean? And even with like his Hollywood famous star, he was like, "Nah, you're not putting the name of my
Okay.
prophet on the floor. No one's stepping on that name, putting it on the wall." I mean, everything about him is just absolutely amazing. I mean, I remember Habib when someone asked him about his comparison to Muhammad Ali, he goes, can't compare that because I'm not a black man that grew up in the 50s and 60s with all the shit that was going on there. Like, that's a whole different, I wouldn't know how I would have reacted like back then. Muhammad Ali was courageous enough because you could have been killed and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't matter who you were. So even someone like him just understands the situation that Ali was in, the time that he was in, and how he acted as a human being compared to Habib that in the time that we're in now. No one will be the same. But yeah, no, I mean that's what I'm saying. People, it's just disappointing. Like I said, I don't idolize anyone. I respect, be it actors or athletes. I respect them, and I find like so inspiration from them. Whatnot. But like I said, last year, man, there was a lot that I was just like, that's fucking disappointed. I'm done. I don't need to know. I don't want to follow your career no more. I'm done with you. And it's kids dying, man. Like it's not just kids. There's innocent people, women and men as well. But when that many kids are getting blown up and you're just not doing that, like, man, you supporting it? And I fuck off, man. I don't need to know what the fuck you're going on. You know what I mean?
Now I regret sending a picture of my face to Joe Rogan. So I used to work in a place called Fortress Boxing, right? And Joe Rogan actually ordered from us. He ordered some hand wraps. So my boss decided to give him loads of free gear. and a picture of all of us, and I'm there smiling. This,
No, I mean, that was back in the day. I mean, listen, like Rogan, don't get me wrong, like what I said, he said, and I don't listen to his podcast as much anymore. But he was just on a podcast that I listened to with a guy called Kurt. Man, sure, I can't remember his name, but he's like a pro-Palestinian dude. And Rogan, he spoke up and he said something. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't say he's in the middle, but clearly there's biases there. There's some things that he does speak up. He was just kind of like he said some things where you're like, all right, cool, at least you're saying that and whatnot. But yeah, it's just crazy, man, the times that we're in and whatnot. But yeah, it's important for us to use our platforms to do what we can, basically. That's why, like, when you asked, do we get controversial on the podcast? I'm like, fuck yeah, man, we talk about anything. Like, it's open to talk about anything, sort of, because that's what so the platform, this started by me and Kibbs, my brother, older brother. Me and my brothers were very tight and whatnot. So when I left, we'll make sure we catch up every week, and then, we'll catch up about the comic book world and Marvel movies and stuff like that. And we're just like, why don't we just do a podcast? And it was literally an opportunity or an excuse for me and my brother to make sure we talk every week. And it literally started from that. And it was always just like, how you doing? What's going on? How's Hong Kong? How's life? We talk about shit that happens in the real world that made us feel something or whatnot. And then we'll geek out about comic books and movies and all that sort of shit. And it just kind of evolved into what it is now. And it's not massive or anything like that, but we get certain opportunities and stuff like that, getting involved in the cinema world and Hollywood world, even though it's controlled by Zionists and shit. But it's getting involved in that sort of world, and it's crazy. My brother just kind of saw like met Harrison Ford and stuff like that a couple of weeks ago, and I was just like,
I seen
man,
a
this
video.
is
I think I seen a video of him doing a flying spinning kick.
it's finicky.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that was very entertaining to see. Yeah.
So it's just crazy how it evolved into that. But yes, we talk about whatever we want to talk about. You know what I mean? Like we don't try to one thing that we don't try to do is like we don't try to give negative reviews on movies. I respect creators, right? So if we don't like a movie, we might just say like let's not talk about it, or let's just what we try and might do is just let's just talk about positive things about it. We might just say, listen, it's not our cup of tea, but we're not the guys to be like, this movie sucks, this is shit, actor shit, like, because we respect people's work and all that sort of stuff. So that's one thing we try to stay away from is like let's not shit on creators' work, because we know as creators how hard it is to put your heart and soul into something. And if it doesn't turn out, it might not be your cup of tea, it could be someone else's cup of tea. So that's the one thing that we strive to do is like when we do reviews on movies or shows or whatnot, if we're not feeling it and we got no positive stuff to talk about, let's not waste our energy talking about it. We're not put that message out there. But if it's a big blockbuster movie, for example, and we want to do something about it and we didn't like it, we're like, cool, listen, not my cup of tea. Go watch it and see it for yourself, sort of thing.
Yeah, I made about 20 YouTube videos and and, like I know how hard it can be as well. So I do appreciate how much time and effort like creators put into their content, especially
Yeah,
creators.
definitely. As we got older as well now, like, we're both like we're married now. He's got kids. Inshallah, I'll have kids one day. It does get it time consuming and whatnot, but we enjoy it, man. It's like something that we can do. I can like we just had an amazing conversation. I wasn't on my phone. I wasn't distracted by anything else. Like we just, what I mean. It's just I wish we could have done it in person or whatnot. But it's just the
Yeah.
best way to have like a good conversation with someone and get to know someone. And me and my brother do that every week, and we talk to other people, but it's just a great platform to just talk and express ourselves. And it's helped me a lot, honestly. It's educated me a lot. I've built a lot more confidence, like talking and kind of like changing well, not changing, but like being more articulate with the way I speak, my vocabulary and whatnot. So even with work, when I have to do presentations or talk to a client, I'm a bit more articulate. I can articulate my words a bit better. And express myself a bit better. So it actually had benefits for my work life as well.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't really get the chance to speak much about these sort of topics. So it's like when rare times, like rare cases, when I can, I kind of just grab at the opportunity. It's not often that I get to speak about, these sort of topics with someone, especially because like, on my age or whatnot. I mean, it's very, very, very hard to find someone that's like-minded, especially me. Like, I want to compete, become a national champion in Bulgaria, same time become a dentist at the same time, do this and that and then work and then blah 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 blah. It's like I'm trying to do all of these things. It's kind of hard to find someone like-minded. But that's okay because I want to be the person that again, like be the change that you want to see in the world, So I want to be that change, if you will. and hopefully find like-minded people, along my way. I'm still 20, and inshallah, if Allah gives me more life, I can find the like-minded people, that's going to be around me most of the time, and that will hopefully elevate me in all future endeavors.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. I mean, look, listen, man, it's hard to find people that you can have conversations with. Like, in the reality of the world that we live in, doesn't matter what country you're in or whatnot. As you kind of mentioned earlier, people are in their lives. So to kind of meet people that you can have these sort of conversations with, or any sort of conversations, not just like, banter conversations. It's not as easy. And to kind of speak comfortably as well, it's not as easy, just depending on the type of people you meet and whatnot. So it's just one of those things, man. When you come across someone, and those are the type of people I like to like. I'm attracted to in that sense. Like those are people I'd rather just be around the one, especially because I'm older. I'd rather just be with people I could talk to and have a conversation with. Just before we finish up with one, going back to boxing, man. What's happening, man? Any fights are coming up? Are you training every day? Like how what's the routine like with boxing? Any fights coming up?
So I actually train sometimes twice a day here. So like within university, right? So I'll go to university, but I bring my clothes as well because thank God there's a gym across the road. It's in the Millennium Hotel. It's a very nice gym, and I go during the day. So I might finish my lecture. I go there for about an hour and a half, shower there, go back to uni, and then straight from uni I come back, get ready for boxing, and I go over to boxing as well. So sometimes twice a day. But I'm not as consistent being because I mean obviously I have my exams. I got 3 exams this month. Inshallah, I do well. But then Ramadan's coming up. It's, in the whole of March. I was supposed to fight in the championships on the 8th of April, I believe. And if I have a month out, literally, and I have like 1 week to prepare, there's no chance I'm going to be able to fight there. And the Bulgarian championships are such that you fight every day. So you fight Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. In the UK, it's fight every week, so you can fight on a Saturday, fight next week. Sometimes it's either Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sometimes it could be that. Sometimes it could be every week. But here it's every day, so you have to be very, very, very fit. And if I have a month out, I think I'm not going to be prepared. So if not April, then perhaps May or June, I'll be fighting for the championships. But 100% this year, I'm going to be fighting. And obviously with self-belief, no self-doubt, 100% I'll become a national champion.
Inshallah, inshallah. But do you get with fighting and competing? Do you get nervous like while you're doing training camp? And how do you deal with those nerves, man? Because that's the thing that used to get me, man. I was like, oh, I hate this feeling. This is one of the reasons why I don't want to do this shit because I don't like this feeling. But I only done it to overcome this feeling.
Yeah, so when I was preparing for my last fight in September, this is back in England, back in Birmingham. When I was preparing for my last fight, I was going through some stuff, man. I was going through some stuff, and obviously I just had to just put this to the side and be like, listen, I don't care. I'm just gonna go in. I'm just gonna. I had to lose weight as well. I had to lose about 4 kilos of weight, so I had to put on a sauna suit. I had to train every day in a sauna suit. Not no water, no junk food, no like barely any food, whatnot. And yeah, man, like, was I nervous? I wasn't nervous until Oh, actually, no, sorry, other way around. I was nervous until I stepped in the ring. When I stepped in the ring
Mm.
and I see my opponent, I was like, okay, it's time to go. It's time to go to work. But like in the change rooms, when I was warming up on the pads, I was hitting like twice or 3 times as harder than I would have. It's very weird. Like when I was warming up, I was hitting the pads like with so much power. I was like, I've never hit like this before. And even my coach said, he goes, "You've never hit like this before." So I think that nervous energy was transferred in a good way. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, man, I just hope to it's a good feeling, afterwards, after like the day after, you're like, okay, thank God I went through that.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, because it's like now you feel a sense of relief. Again, as it's like what we spoke about before. Like if anything comes easy, you don't appreciate it. If it comes hard, you will appreciate it. So all that,
Yeah.
leading up to it, I appreciate those weeks and choosing my heart.
Yeah, no, definitely. I remember my first fight was for like a European tournament thing. I don't know why I joined the European tournament or whatnot, but I was like, let me just go for it. And it was an opportunity to go to Sweden. So I was like, oh, that's going to be amazing. So I was going to focus on that. But I remember I was just nervous until the ref said fight. And then it just all went. It was like, oh, let's go now and whatnot. But I remember after I lost that fight, I lost it on points. But I was over the moon because of what you said, like just because I done it, you know what I mean? I was over the moon. I was so happy, like, I can't believe I done it. And I still watch that video back now. I was like throwing, I remember at the time I was watching like Jose Aldo throwing like leg kicks and shit. And I was just throwing so many leg kicks. And by the end of the round two, my opponent couldn't even walk. He was just limping back. And he got me more in the wrestling. My wrestling was rubbish, so he took me down and whatnot. But I was just over the moon. I was like, I can't believe I did some of that shit. Some of the shit I did, like, I'm like, oh God, I can't believe my body did that. I like it's very basic. You're a boxer, so it's very basic for you. But like, I remember there was one, he threw a jab and I literally kind of rolled on there and threw a right hand. And I was like, oh my God, I did that. Like it looked like a video game. I looked like Ali for that split second. But it was those things that made me realize like, oh my God, I'm capable of doing it. And my body was capable of doing it. So I just saw little success in these mini sort of techniques I was able to apply at the time. But yeah, the feeling, as I got older, I got more nervous. Like I got more, not just nervous, I got more scared. Like when I was younger, I was nervous, but there wasn't that feeling of panic attacks or fear. When I was trying to go for it in Hong Kong, for some reason, I was a lot older now. It turned into fear and panic attacks. And I was like, what the fuck? That you've done this before. Like, I know you're scared, but it's okay to be, but why are you panicking? I had to, like, honestly, there was a lot I had to go through, like mentally. I was doing a lot more prayers, I was doing a lot more meditation, I done that float tech. I was doing so much shit. I was like, what the fuck am I having panic attacks for? But as I got older, things changed. Like the nerves turned into panic attacks and like being scared. And I don't know. Maybe I got older and I was like, maybe my mind was like, this is dangerous. Why the fuck are you doing this? Like maybe it was a body just telling me, don't do this, man. What's wrong with you? I don't know.
I think I had more to lose when you're younger. Like you got nothing to lose really, but like when you're older, you got like a wife and you got like a job and whatnot. You got loads of things to lose. So I guess it's more so of just life really. You know.
Yeah, maybe. So when you back in Dubai, you're gonna be back in Dubai anytime soon?
So my last exam is on the 20th, and I was thinking of either coming to Dubai for 10 days or going back to England because I haven't been back home in such a while. So perhaps either this month, if not this month, then it'll be in like July times. But it'll
All
be good to
right,
see you
cool.
then.
Definitely.
See that.
If you come to Dubai, of course, please let me know. It'd be good to see you. It'd be good to catch up. We can have a face-to-face catch up, get some food or whatnot. Maybe you could teach me some boxing and stuff like that, which would be amazing. Cool, brother. Well, look, man, it was good to catch up with you. We had a nice long conversation, man, which was awesome. It's always nice. Great to get to know you a lot better and appreciate you kind of sharing your stories with everyone, man. When your Instagram, what's your Instagram handle?
SK_HOAL.
All right, cool. And your image makes me laugh, man. It's a picture of a poo with eyes.
It's that Goomba from Mario.
Oh, okay. Is that a character from Mario?
Yeah, so it's the Mario little villains that you step on.
Ah, I see. Okay. My bad. I didn't know what that was. Awesome. Well, guys, I'll put it in the description. You guys check him out. Follow his, Solomon's boxing career and what is going on and whatnot. And well, we'll do this again in the future, man. After you do a couple more fights, after you become the champion and whatnot, we'll catch up again, man. If you come to Dubai, maybe we'll do one face to face. It'll be better to do it face to face and stuff.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely down. Thank you so much for having me on, man.
No worries, bro. All right, awesome. Well, everyone, thanks for watching. Please do like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.